On the morning of July 17, 2014, Bryce Fredericks came out of his house on the outskirts of Rotterdam. He and his girlfriend Daisy were going to Indonesia on board flight MH17.
Yeah, they went on holiday to Bali because Daisy's mother just died 3 months before. And of course Daisy was very, very sad, and Bryce said, I want to go on holiday with her.
4 years later, their room remains untouched. Clothes that did not fit into suitcases, favorite toys, photos. Bryce's mother, Selena, found it beyond her strength to remove the things that were left after the death of her son and his spouse. She still remembers her husband's call.
He shouted, you have to come home. The children have, the plane has crashed. As soon as I found out it was the plane they were in, I was certain there were no survivors. It was impossible. Impossible. I had no hope.
Pro-Russian terrorists shot down the airliner in the Donetsk region using a Russian Buk missile system. The debris from the plane scattered over tens of square kilometers. It was too dangerous to collect the human remains under threat of attack in the occupied territories, and so the searches were delayed. Then, Robbie Uhlers, the cousin of Daisy, went to the crash site himself.
I called a television network for telephone numbers of people in the area. People, their contacts, like fixers, journalist fixers. And they gave me 3 numbers. One was not good, and the second one didn't pick up. And the third one was a hotel person. And the second one called back after a few minutes and identified herself as somebody from the DNR people. And she said she can help me to get to Donetsk.
He reached the village of Hrabova in Donetsk region through a territory controlled by Ukrainian government. According to him, a quick glance at the wreckage confirmed that the air crash was not an accident.
You see this grass, and this grass was kind of swept away by the crash site, and in the grass you could find human remains. Still, by the way. There's still human remains lying there.
A year after the disaster, the bodies of Daisy and Bryce were cremated together. Here in the suburbs of Amsterdam, the victims' families created a memorial. They planted trees and sunflowers, since they grow at the crash site. Almost 300 victims are honored with their names engraved on a metal disc and tablets set on the trees. The list includes the name of 17-year-old Ilzemek, the only daughter of Hans de Borst.
She was with my ex-wife and her family. She went on holiday to Malaysia on July 17. And I gave her a hug and I said, oh, take care of yourself and have a nice holiday. And she said, you don't have to say that 10 times. I said, okay, 4 times is enough, yeah, okay.
3 weeks after the tragedy, the remains of Ilzemek were identified by a name ring. Hans wears it on his watch strap.
Till every day strange that she won't come back anymore. When she would leave for a month or even a year, you can be easy about it, but now it's not normal that you lose your child who's 17. That's not can never get used to it.
This bench was placed in memory of the victims of the air crash. It is located a few dozen meters from the Russian embassy in The Hague. It is a symbol of the expected punishment for the killers of 300 people.
The rest of the world may still remember that this is a mass murder, and the country responsible for it just walks away. Now we can't let it happen. So I will fight for it. I'm glad that the governments from the investigation team will fight for the truth. And if they don't, I bet they do, then we as relatives will also fight for it. For me, it's even more important that one day maybe Russia apologizes or takes responsibility.
The Russian military should not have been in Ukraine, and the military equipment shouldn't have been there either. And that's a decision made by high military people from Russia, and of course the president knows because he's responsible. So the main responsible for me is Mr. Putin. he created the situation that this could happen.
In May, the Netherlands and Australia formally accused Russia of being behind the deadly attack on the Malaysian aircraft. The investigation proved that the Buk missile system, which was used to shoot down the aircraft, was brought to Ukraine from a military base near Kursk, Russia. Moscow continues to deny the charges and blocks the creation of an international tribunal in the case of MH17.